Hello and welcome to A VO's Journey. My name is Anthony Pica. This show is all about helping the new and upcoming voiceover artists grow their business, sidestep all the crazy things that I seem to step on. I got a question the other day that said, what crazy things do you step on? Trust me, they're crazy things. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about tips and tricks for voiceover auditions. Now, the idea of the title is I try all these things and I wanted to bring to everybody throughout all this process and a VO's journey all of the kind of trials and the tribulations, if you will, of running a business and trying things and making a lot of mistakes, and then bringing them to you all and trying to share my advice and what I've learned from those mistakes. So that's kind of what that means. But anyways, that was a good question, because I was saying it for a long time. So anyways, but today we're going to talk about tips and tricks for voiceover auditions. I've listed 5, and I'm going to go into them, and they're probably things that you wouldn't think about, but we're going to dive into them. I'm really excited. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you get notified when these go up. And also, don't forget to check out A VO's Journey Elite Academy. We have a 50% off the first month below. A lot of things going on. Really excited about that. About to launch even more with Academy Voices. That's our agency side to bring our members at the Academy, Elite Academy, voiceover work. So very thrilled about that on top of all the incredible things we offer. But let's dive into this. Tips and tricks for voiceover auditions. Why is this important? Because listen, the more auditions you win, the more work the more work you get, the more money you make, the more you can make this a viable business for yourself. So auditioning is, there's the direct marketing, and then there's the auditioning. And with this auditioning side, we really need to get good at it no matter what. Even if you're not doing a lot of auditions and you're only doing private ones, you need to be able to audition. So let's go into this. Number 1, prepare your archetypes. This is a big one for me, okay, because we have to look at a script and very quickly through a sentence or two get directions. Okay, and go. Read. Okay, so preparing your archetypes, and I would add on to that your cold reading skills, but preparing your archetypes will allow you to call upon different characters or archetypes that you've created to fill in the lack of context needed to give a good performance. So, perfect example, last night we were going over archetypes, actually, in our advanced acting class last night in a VO's Journey Elite Academy. And, one of those, was just general ones, like an announcer. Okay? We know that what an announcer sounds like, right? It's got this booming voice, very highly presentational style, okay? Sometimes over the top, but very radio-esque, okay? Or ringside, an announcer. All right, but then there's also a soothing, the soothing mother or father, the soothing relative, the soothing voice. We have these different archetypes, and those archetypes, we can build them as characters. To build them, you've got to practice them. A lot of times people don't realize that they actually, we don't have these just built into us. And a lot of coaches or sometimes will tell you, that you just, you got to find it, or you got to, find your voice and all these things like this. The reality is, and I learned this the hard way. Here's something I stepped in. When I first started, I thought just that because that's what I heard everyone saying, that you got to find your voice, find, that unique voice of yours. The reality is find, I think, is the wrong word. I think a lot of times you have to create it. You have to come up with it, because we don't go around talking in these archetypes. Sometimes, occasionally, one or two if you're, an idiot like me, but a lot of times we don't. So you have to create them. So preparing your archetypes, the more you have, the more versatile you're going to be to allow you to change and go from one idea to another very quickly. Okay, very quickly. All right, so that leads me to my next one. Number 2. Practice cold reading and finishing a read and editing and saving your file in 5 minutes or less. Yes, this should be a goal. I'm going to give you these tips are actually real practical tips that you need to do that probably people don't really talk about, because when we go into voice acting or acting in general, we dive so much into the art of it, and it's so important. And we kind of shove off all the shackles that we have when it comes to actually doing auditions in real life, as opposed to us being in a safe environment so that we can let go and play in order to get better at our craft, which is vital, you know what I mean, which we do in our acting classes. But these tips I want to give you are very practical too, because these are actually what you need to be able to do on the same time. So not only do you've got to be able to do the voice acting, but you've got to be able to finish from the moment you start the recording, all right, for the moment you finish recording, editing, processing, saving, and submitting, 5 minutes or less. This is what you need to do. So what that means is the practice cold reading part of this. So remember, number 2 was practice cold reading and finishing in 5 minutes. The reason why I want you to practice the cold reading, and number 1 is building the archetypes, is because not only do you got to finish in 5 minutes, but you want to do the best that you can in that 5 minutes. Or less, right? You've got to really put a good performance out there. So that's why having your archetypes, preparing and cold reading and practicing these things within 5 minutes or under will prepare you to be able to do the number of voiceover auditions that is necessary for you to actually make a living from this doing auditions. Okay, it's very important. Okay, number 3. People don't often do this, but I really recommend it because it's very helpful. Record and compare your recordings to other voice actors. Now, you're not usually, probably 9 times out of 10, you're never going to hear other auditions. Typically, you don't. But what you can do is you can record yourself, okay? Recording, maybe you could recording anything, or you could even record yourself doing other people's demos and their work and compare. Compare yourself to people that you admire or you like their voices or they seem to be working a lot. Compare your delivery. Compare how it sounds. This is a really important part. When I was doing a lot of theater, live theater, first off, the best way to learn is to watch. For us, the best way to learn is to listen. To listen to how other people are making, their deliveries, how they are, what archetypes they're using, the acting styles they're bringing to the table. Listening to them, comparing your recordings and seeing how do you sound, okay, makes a big difference. Because remember, when you submit your stuff, that's what people are going to be listening to. How does it sound? You know what I mean? And then they're going to hear the next person, how do they sound? And they're going to be comparing you because that's what an audition is. So it's important for you to know how you sound and you compare to other people. Okay? And it's a very vital tip. And then what happens is by doing that, you will get an idea of what you need to work on, even in your delivery. Now, you might be strapped with audio thinking, gosh, I can't make my audio sound like that right now. I need to learn more. Well, you've identified you need to learn more. You're acting. You said, man, I sound completely different. My delivery doesn't feel as smooth, or it doesn't, flow as well, or, they seem to just tell a story so much. It's just interesting to listen to, and mine doesn't seem as interesting to listen to. Okay. These are great things for you to identify. Okay. And, without you having a coach on call, all right, which is a good thing. Getting coaching, right, is vital to this, which is something we'll talk about. But, with you doing it without coaching, this is how you need to do it, is you need to learn how to hear yourself compared to others. Okay. And then you can make those changes. Number 4, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, especially for auditioning, the importance of having your studio set up correctly so that you don't have to do a lot of editing. If you here's the deal. The deal is you want to do literally, you want to record something, hit a key, bam, bam, you're done, save, send. That's what you want to do. You don't want to be, I got to get rid of these noises. I got to fix this on the file. That the lawnmower was going on. I mean, you can't change the lawnmower going on, but but the more that there's background, there's echoes, there's noises from the more you can create a space that is perfectly treated and not a lot of noise, the less work you have to do. if there's any place that you approach when it comes to that, it's your space first. Treat your space the best that you possibly can so you don't have to do a lot. All right? The last thing I want to talk about today, I mean, we could talk about tons of things, but this is a big one, especially now more than ever. Be uniquely you. Be yourself more now than ever. Because one thing that AI can't take away from you is you. I mean, unless you give your voice to AI, all right, legally, they can't take it from you, okay? But besides that, even with your voice, the unpredictable nature of what makes you you and what makes you unique is your greatest asset. As an actor, as a performer, as a person. So that means use it. Use it. Be uniquely yourself. What does that mean? That means that not everybody will want to work with you, but that means there will be some people who do, and they'll really want to work with you because they're looking for someone that is unique just like you. Be yourself more now than ever because this is more important than ever before. Okay? Now, I know I talked about earlier about comparing recordings. The idea with that is there are unspoken rules, okay, on deliveries. But how you choose to deliver, you've got to know the rules and what people are doing in order for you to deliver it uniquely you, okay? So I hope these have helped. And of course, I'm going to give you a bonus tip here. You got to audition a lot. 30, 40, 50 times a day. I mean, if you really, really want to make this thing work through auditioning, you've got to audition like mad. And if you're only doing a couple a day, you're not going to get the results in a timely manner that you'd like to see. And it has nothing to do with how talented you are. The fact of the matter is that people are looking for things and you might not fit the bill, not because you're not talented, not because you didn't do a good job, but simply because you weren't exactly what they were looking for. Does that make sense? I always said the same thing, like, I'm never going to be on stage, like, I'm like 5'8", 5'9". I'm never going to be hired to be a 6'4" basketball player, to play that role in a movie or on stage because I'm not 6'4" and I don't look like a basketball player. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just never going to be hired in that role, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean I'm not talented. It's the same thing with you and the same thing with our voices. Just because you're not hired doesn't mean you're not talented. It just means you've got to get in front of enough people so that the people who are looking for someone unique like you will find you and hire you. All right. I hope this has helped. Really, another, and I would say too, with all of these things being said, get a support group. You know what I mean? Be in a support group that can help you with this thing, that can help guide you, that can be there for you and show you these things, bring you along with them as they do them, like a VO's Journey Elite Academy or anywhere. But be a part of a support group. I'm such an advocate for this, more now than ever, because doing this on our own, it's madness. It's almost impossible. You need some people that are going in the same direction that can take you along with them. All right, listen, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. You have a wonderful Thursday. All right, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Goodbye. Goodbye.